Continuing on the trail here at the historic tree grove, we're now looking at the Gettysburg Address honey locust tree. Abraham Lincoln was invited to make a few remarks on July 19, 1863 at the dedication of a cemetery near Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Famed orator Edward Everett preceded Lincoln, speaking for 2 hours from a platform which stood near a honey locust tree. Lincoln's address was so brief that photographers were still setting up their cameras when he concluded. The Gettysburg Address would become known as one of the greatest speeches in American history. Gettysburg Black Gum. On July 2nd, 1863, the battle lines at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania were drawn up in 2 sweeping arcs. The main portions of both armies were 1.6 kilometers or 1 mile apart on parallel ridges. Union forces on Cemetery Ridge, Confederate forces on Seminary Ridge to the west. Lee ordered an attack against both Union flanks. James Longstreet's thrust on the Federal left turned the base of Little Round Top into shambles, left the wheat field strewn with over 4,000 dead and wounded, and overran the peach orchard. In the midst of the wheat field, the Gettysburg Black Gum withstood the ravages of battle and lives today. Robert E. Lee Chestnut Oak. The Robert E. Lee Chestnut Oak grows at the immense plantation where the famous Confederate general was born. The thickly wooded acres of Stratford Hall were home to 4 generations of Lees, including Richard Henry Lee and Francis Lightfoot Lee, the only brothers to sign the Declaration of Independence. Robert E. Lee graduated from the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. He became Commander-in-Chief of all Confederate armies during the Civil War in 1865. Lee has long been held as an idol by Southerners and as a hero by all Americans. Williamsburg Golden Rain Tree. The Williamsburg Golden Rain Tree is located in the colonial Virginia city that was the center of political and cultural life from 1698 to 1779. The ideas of Williamsburg citizens were instrumental to the concept of American independence. In Williamsburg, once the capital of Virginia, innovative people such as George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry, and James Madison gave momentum to the American Revolution. Johnny Appleseed Apple. John Chapman, born in Leominster, Massachusetts, on September 26, 1774, sought to bring harmony between man and nature. Believing God manifested himself in plants, animals, and surroundings of the outdoors. In the late 1780s, he set out in a canoe to plant orchards of apple trees. The trees were intended to provide for settlers and pioneers as they traveled westward during the expansion area. The Rambo apple tree planted here is an offspring of one still growing at the Harbison farm in Nova, Ohio.